Hello students, in this video we are going to do the explanation of Act 2, Scene 2. So far all the videos that we have done the explanation of the various scenes which are interrelated. But this scene, comparatively being a longer scene, it is a breakage, it is totally, you can say, different and not attached to the previous scenes, because in this particular scene we can say that two of the main, not so main important characters in a way have been introduced to us. They are comparatively the least talked about characters in the play. One is obviously a guest appearance, that is by old Launcelot Gobbo, the father, and another character over here, which is the main character in the scene, is Launcelot. He is the fool of the play, or you can say the clown of the play, who's introduced over here. And we are given that both Launcelot and his father, they add to the comic relief of the play. This scene basically is for the comic relief. It is also, you can say, this is a relief scene for the characters also. You can imagine most of the characters performing on the stage, they have to prepare for the coming up scenes, and that is why they want a break from the main scenes going through, because there will be change of the scenes and attires and things. So when it is performed on stage, this scene acts as a break for all the you can say contest participants, also for all the characters, as well as it is a comic relief for the audience also, because this scene adds to the comic and the humor of the play. So here we are shown Launcelot talking to himself and then later joined by his father. Let's quickly get down to the explanation of the text. So the speech is: Act 2, Scene 2 takes place in Venice, in a street, and there Launcelot is initially talking to himself. It's a soliloquy. This is the first soliloquy we are doing of the play. Launcelot says, "Certainly my conscience will serve me to run from this Jew, my master. My conscience, मेरी अंतरात्मा मुझे फोर्स करेगी, मेरे को हेल्प करेगी कि मैं इस Jew, my master, यानी कि शाइलॉक he is talking about, मैं अपने मास्टर शाइलॉक, मास्टर Jew के घर से भाग सकूं. The fiend is at mine elbow and tempts me, saying to me, Gobbo, Launcelot Gobbo, good Launcelot, or good Gobbo, or good Launcelot Gobbo, use your legs, take the start, run away." He's saying that the fiend, that is the devil बिल्कुल मेरे किनारे खड़े होके मेरे को elbow कर रहा है, and he's telling me कि Gobbo, good Gobbo, and he gives various adjectives to himself, talking about how nice and noble man he is. So he says, devil is telling me, Gobbo, good Launcelot Gobbo, जल्दी करो, you should take help of your leg and run away from here. तुम अपने पैरों का सहारा लेके जल्दी से यहाँ से भाग जाओ. My conscience says, no, take heed, honest Launcelot, take heed, honest Gobbo, or as aforesaid, honest Launcelot Gobbo, do not run, scorn running with thy heels. And he is saying, on the other hand, while devil is on my one side telling me to run away, on the other side my inner conscious, who's the angelic being, the godly being, that my godly part, that is telling me that do not run. Again he uses all the adjectives for himself and then say कि मेरी अंतरात्मा मुझे दूसरी तरफ से कह रही है, नहीं भागना नहीं, scorn your heels, यानी कि भागने के आइडिया को डांट के हटा दो. Don't run, don't use your heels, your legs, to run away from this particular master's house. Well, the most courageous fiend bids me pack. Via, says the fiend. Now he's saying devil is still forcing me and says via. Via means through this road, the road in front of him. He's saying through this road, take heed and straight away run from your master's house. इसी जगह से यही रास्ते का सहारा लेके यहीं से भाग जाओ यहाँ पे एकदम से. Away, says the fiend, for the heavens rouse up a brave mind, says the fiend, and run, for heaven's sake. अपना थोड़ा एक brave decision लो और यहाँ से भाग जाओ. This is the advice devil is trying to give me. Well, my conscience, hanging about the neck of my heart, says very wisely to me, my honest friend Launcelot, being an honest man's son, or rather an honest woman's son. Well, my conscience says, Launcelot, budge not. But he is saying, while devil is telling me कि यही रास्ता पकड़ के निकल जाओ, भाग जाओ, on the other hand the angelic being or my inner conscience, the good advisor, tells me, he is holding on to me and मेरे on my heart. He is just hanging around it and telling me कि देखो, good Launcelot, you are a good man's son. Or rather, he is more you can say related to his wife. More attached to his mother. So he's saying, rather, I am a good woman's son, so I have all the good traits, and that is why my conscience is telling me that being a good woman's son, you should budge not. Budge not means move not. You should not run away. Budge says the fiend, budge not says my conscience. एक तरफ से डेविल कह रहा है भागो, दूसरी तरफ से एंजेलिक बीइंग कह रहा है मत भागो. Budge and budge not. This is what both the two characteristics of his own personality are talking, and they are having a, you can say, skirmish over there. They are एक दूसरे में आपस में उनकी बहसबाजी चल रही है, बातचीत में लड़ाई हो रही है. Conscience says I, you counsel well. Fiend say I, you counsel well. To be ruled by my conscience, I should stay with the Jew, my master, who, God bless the mark, is a kind of devil. And to run away from the Jew, I should be ruled by the fiend, who, saving your reverence, is the devil himself. Now here he's saying, Launcelot, कि my conscience is telling me to stay, my devilic being is telling me, fiend is telling me to run away, and in that case, if I listen to my conscience, which a nobleman should do, then I will have to stay here and live with my master Shylock, and that means he himself is like a devil. Whereas if I listen to the devil and follow his advice, then I will be running away from the master, from Shylock, but in that case I will be obeying the devil. So in both the cases, I will be either obeying the devil or I will be staying with the devil. Certainly the Jew is the very devil incarnation, and in my conscience is but a kind of hard conscience. He is saying कि मेरे हिसाब से जू जो है, शाइलॉक जो है, वो सच में ही एक डेविल का ही इनकारनेशन है, दूसरा रूप है. एंड इट इज माई कॉन्शियंस, मेरी अंतरात्मा जो है, इट इज़ अ वेरी हार्ड हार्टेड इनर कॉन्शियंस, जो मेरे को बहुत ही इतनी स्ट्रिक्ट वो दे रही है, सलाह एडवाइस दे रही है, विच इज़ वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट, डिफिकल्ट टू फॉलो. To offer to counsel me to stay with the Jew. The fiend gives the more friendly counsel, I will run. Fiend, my heels are at your commandments, I will run. So here he says कि वो जो मुझे एडवाइस दे रही है, that is very difficult to follow. But on the other hand, fiend जो मुझे एडवाइस दे रहा है, वो मेरे को ज़्यादा फ्रेंडली लग रही है, ज़्यादा suitable लग रही है, and that is why I am going to follow the fiend और devil's advice. मैं उसकी एडवाइस फॉलो करके अभी उसी के ऑर्डर्स को फॉलो करते हुए यहाँ से भागने वाला हूँ. While he is planning to run away from there, at that time there enters on stage his father, who is Old Gobbo. Now Old Gobbo was not able to see properly. Earlier he could see a little bit blurred, maybe that is why he was gravel blind, sand blind, but now he is hard gravel blind, as given by high gravel blind, as given by description given by Launcelot. Why? Because वो अपने ही बेटे से मिल रहा है, लेकिन फिर भी उसको पहचान नहीं पा रहा है, and that is why it is given that he is not able to see anything by this time. That means he has aged a lot and his eyes have become very weak. Gobbo says, Master young man, you, I pray you, which is the way to Master Jew? So he straight away comes to, Old Gobbo comes to his son Launcelot and asks him the way. Launcelot goes and says an aside and says, Oh heavens, this is my true begotten son. ये एक ऐसी कहावत है which he is saying in the wrong order. It is said, this is my true begotten son. But here he is saying true begotten father. That means in Hindi you can understand very nicely. It is just to add humor. Like Launcelot says, अरे ये तो मेरा इकलौता बाप आ गया मेरे सामने. Whereas it is इकलौता बेटा. So he is just reversing the thing and saying it. Who being more than sand blind, high gravel blind, knows me not. जो पहले धुंधला देखता था लेकिन शायद अब से पूरा ही नहीं देखता है, इसलिए मुझे अब पहचान नहीं पा रहा है. I will try confusions with him. Now I'll play a trick on him. That is what he means. Gobbo says, Master young gentleman, I pray you, which is the way to Master Jew? Shylock के घर का रास्ता बताओ. That is what he is inquiring. Launcelot says, turn up your right hand at the next turning, but at the next turning of all on your left. Marry, at the very next turning, turn of no hand, but turn down indirectly to the Jew's house. Now he gives a very difficult direction to a blind man, saying यहाँ से आगे next turn पे right जाना, उससे आगे next turn पे left चले जाना, उसके बाद next turn पे कहीं मत जाना, सीधा घर पे पहुंच जाना. So he is trying to add confusions to Launcelot's father, to old Gobbo, and he says, "Oh Mary, that is a very, by God's Sontines means, so by God, that is, or by the angels, saints, I will never be able to find that way." And then he inquires from Launcelot only that, "Please tell me, do you know young Launcelot, young Launcelot?" He says, "Oh, you are talking about Master Launcelot. Mark me now, I will raise the waters." This is what he tells to the audience. When Gobbo asks कि क्या आप लॉन्सलॉट को जानते हो, तो लॉन्सलॉट बोलता है ऑडियंस से कि अब देखना मैं कैसे इस इंसान को, इस अपने फादर को ऐसा ट्रिक करूंगा that he'll start crying over here. And then he says, "Are you talking about Master Launcelot?" Gobbo, being a simple fellow, he says, no, I'm not talking about any Master Launcelot, I'm just talking about Launcelot. So Launcelot is still arguing and saying the same thing. "Oh, he is Master Launcelot only." He says, "No, he's a poor man's son and an honest fellow's son, and I just want to know whether he is there or he is having good terms with his master or not." So he's saying, "Oh, you must be talking about Master Launcelot, and let me tell you, by the 3 sisters, he has died." The 3 sisters are basically the 3 sisters of fate. They are known as Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. So you should be remembering the names: Clothos, Atropos, and Lachesis. So these are the 3 sisters who basically spun the yarn of life, and they can cut the thread that is given as one of the explanations, and this is how they can control the life and destinies of the people. So he's saying, by those 3 sisters, your son has that Master Launcelot has died. So Gobbo is still confused whether this Master Launcelot is his son or not, and if it is his son, then he is shaken up because he knows that Launcelot was his only child, his only staff for his old age, and even if he dies, he will be without any help, without any support. So he is straight away about to cry. He's crying and he's still wishing, "I hope that may this be wrong, but please tell me, is he really dead?" That is what he wants to inquire from him. So at last, when the old man is badly irritated and troubled by Launcelot, then finally Launcelot reveals the truth and he says, "Do you not know me, father?" Gobbo says, "Alack, sir, I am sand blind, I know you not." वो कह रहा, आपने मुझे अभी भी नहीं पहचाना, father? Basically, remember why Gobbo doesn't react to this is because in those days, any elder man or any elder person could be termed as a father. That is out of respect also. So over here, Gobbo might be thinking that Launcelot is calling him father because he is an older fellow. So that is why he is not able to understand that whether really Launcelot is his son or not. Launcelot says, "Nay, indeed, you have. If you had your eyes, you might fail to of the knowing me. It is a wise father that knows his own child." वो कह रहा है, फिर भी अगर आपके पास सही आंखें भी होती, आपको सही दिखता, तब भी आप मुझे नहीं पहचान पाते. Again he uses a particular saying in a wrong term. It is a wise son who can identify who knows his father. यहाँ पे उल्टा बोल रहा है, it is a wise father who knows his child. यानी कि एक समझदार बच्चा अपने बाप को पहचानता है, इसको वो उल्टा बोल रहा है कि एक समझदार बाप अपने बच्चे को पहचानता है. So that is just to add the humor and light hearted you can comments over here. So he says, "I tell you, news of your son, give me your blessings." He is saying कि मैं तुम्हें और बताऊंगा आपके बेटे के बारे में, but before that, give me your blessings, just bless me. And then he kneels down in front of Gobbo and says, "Truth will come to light. Murder cannot be hid long. A man's son may, but in the end, truth will out." सारी बातों को छुपाया जा सकता है, but at the end, the truth comes to light. सामने आ ही जाती है सच्चाई. Murder cannot be hid long. जैसे एक murder ज़्यादा समय तक छुपाया नहीं जा सकता है, वैसे ही a man's son at the end comes out to the truth. कि पता चल जाता है कौन किसका बेटा है या कैसे, who is the father of the son. So that is how it cannot be hid. And that is what he means over here, that I am your son and you are my father. That is what he's trying to reveal. Gobbo says, "Pray you, sir, stand up. I am sure you are not Launcelot, my boy." He's saying, "I am pretty sure you are not Launcelot. You are not my son." So now Launcelot thinks, like I was playing a prank on my father or tricking him. Now he's doing the same on me, and he says, "Pray you, let's have no more fooling about it, but give me your blessings." He's saying, "Please, let's not elongate it any further. Let's not prolong this joking and pranking. I am your son Launcelot, your boy that was Your son, that is, your child, that shall be. I was your son, I am your son, I will remain your son, I am your Launcelot. Gobbo says, I cannot think you are my son. वो कह रहा है मुझे ऐसा क्यों नहीं लग रहा है कि तुम मेरे बेटे हो, मुझे लग रहा है तुम मेरे बेटे नहीं हो. Now Launcelot, adding to the humor, says, now what should I make out of this? इस बात का मैं क्या मतलब निकालूं कि मेरा ही बाप मुझसे कह रहा है कि I don't think so, you are my son. That means some particular he is accusing his mother for adultery, maybe. So that is why he is saying, I don't know what to make out of this particular statement that my father is telling me that I am not his son. And how should I make him believe that I am his son? So he says, okay, but I am Launcelot, the Jew's man, and I am sure Marjorie, your wife, is my mother. Marjorie is basically the name of his mother, Launcelot's mother. So he's saying, I'm pretty sure if I am Marjorie's son, then I am going to be your son also, because Marjorie is your wife. Now Gobbo is convinced and he says, her name is Marjorie. Indeed, I will be sworn if thou be Launcelot. Thou art my own flesh and blood. Lord worshipped might he be. What a beard hast thou got? He's saying, oh, indeed, my wife's name is Marjorie. And if you are Marjorie's son, then you are my Launcelot. And then he says, how much you have changed. You are my flesh, my hair, my blood. But now you have changed so much. Lord be worshipped that you are still alive, safe and secure. And what a beard you have got on your face. Thou hast got more hair on thy chin than Dobbin, my filly horse, has on his tail. Over here he says that you have got more hair on your face than my horse has on its tail. So you have more hair, you are quite hairy, you have a lot of beard. Launcelot is rising, he was still kneeling down, so he now rises and says, it should seem that then that Dobbin's tail grows backward. It means कि Dobbin की tail जो है वो उल्टे में grow हो रही है, reverse में grow हो रही है, because last time when I saw it had a lot of hair. And now अगर उसमें बाल कम हो गए हैं and less than my beard, then that means it is shrinking or it is getting all the hair removed from it. I'm sure he had more hair on his tail than I have of my face when I last saw him. जब मैंने last time उसको देखा था उसके tail में मेरे beard से बहुत ज़्यादा बाल थे. Now Gobbo says, Lord, how art thou changed? How dost thou and thy master agree? I have brought him a present. How agree you now? Agreeing over here means how good relationship you have with your master. Do you agree with him? That means क्या तुम उसकी बात मानते हो? क्या वो तुम्हारे संग सही से है? So what are your terms and conditions with your master? That is what he is inquiring. And he says, I have brought a gift for your master. Launcelot says, well, well. But for mine own part, as I have set up my rest to run away, so I will not rest till I have run some ground. He says, well, let me tell you, I had already decided to run away from my master's house. And if I run, I am going to run at least as far as I can, so that I can be at least at a very good distance away from my master's house. My master's a very Jew. Give him a present, give him a halter. He is saying कि मेरा मास्टर एक जू है, पक्का शायलॉक जो है पक्का जू है. That means he's a miser fellow, very cruel, and if you want to give him some gift, then you better give him a rope to hang himself. A halter means a hanging rope. I am famished in his service. That means I am always starving in his service. मैं सूख गया हूँ उसका काम करते करते, वो मुझे खाने को नहीं देता है. You may tell every finger I have with my ribs. That it's basically this term again he uses the wrong term in a way, and he means you can count my ribs on your fingers. Father, I am glad you are come. Give me your present to one master Bassanio. Father, I am so happy कि आप आए हो और आप ये gift लेकर आए हो, and I would request you, if you want to give this gift, don't give it to Shylock, rather you give it to some other gentleman whom I want to give it, and that is Master Bassanio, who indeed gives rare new liveries. If I serve not him, I will run as far as God has any ground. He is talking about Bassanio as Master Launcelot, and in special thing he says that he is giving new uniforms to his masters. What is important to notice is this is the time when Bassanio is preparing for his trip to Belmont, and that is why with those 3,000 ducats he has got a lot of new servants and new uniforms for them. He is arranging for a very nice appearance in front of Portia to be as a rich suitor. So here he is talking about that only. Launcelot is saying that only, that he gives new uniforms to his masters, and he treats to his servants, and he treats his servants very nicely. And so he says, if I am going to serve anyone, I am going to serve Bassanio only. Otherwise, I will run as far as God has made this entire land. As far as I can, I will keep running. Oh rare fortune, here comes the man. To him, father, for I am a Jew, if I serve the Jew any longer. He says, oh, what a coincidence. See, I was talking about Bassanio and father. Bassanio has arrived, has come over here. And to him you have to talk and ask for a job for me. And he says, if I stay any longer with Shylock, I will myself become a Jew. मतलब मैं अगर उसके साथ रहा, Shylock के साथ, तो मैं भी उसके जैसा हो जाऊंगा. I will also turn to be a miser and a cruel fellow. So that is what he wants to tell his father कि मेरे लिए बात करके आओ Bassanio से, that he may take me to his service. Bassanio enters over there with Leonardo and other followers. There are other servants also, and Leonardo is also one of his main servant in a way, you can say, assisting him right at the moment. So Bassanio says, now he is in conversation with Leonardo, his servant, and other servants. So he is talking over there, and we are shown in between the conversation what he talks to his servant. You may do so, but let it be so hasted that supper be ready at the farthest by 5 of the clock. वो कह रहा है देखो इसको ऐसा कर देना और जल्दी से जल्दी करके रखना, जल्दी से जल्दी ये काम हो जाए, so that the dinner is prepared, dinner तैयार हो जाए by 5 o'clock in the before, or by 5 o'clock of the clock. See these letters delivered. These letters are basically the invitations for all the people who were supposed to be invited for the feast that evening. Put the liveries to making. जल्दी जल्दी जितनी भी uniforms उनको बनवा लो. And desire Gratiano to come and into my lodging. और जो Gratiano है उसको जल्दी से जाके बताना कि वो मेरी lodging यानी मेरे घर तक मेरे को मिलने आए. I want to talk to him urgently. So this is what he tells to one of his servants. All these instructions. What are the instructions? ये सारे काम जल्दी हो जाएं. Dinner 5 बजे से पहले पूरा हो जाए. Then the invitations should be dispatched. Along with that, the liveries should be ready, and Gratiano should be informed to come and meet me at my home, at my residence. The servant exits, and then Launcelot and Gobbo go there with their request. Now here we see a strange particular conversation where Launcelot and Gobbo are talking to Bassanio, but they add, instead of having a clear-cut conversation, they add more to the confusion because both of them are talking in between each other's statements. Launcelot says, to him, father. Gobbo says, God bless your worship. And Bassanio says, gramercy. Gramercy means you can say a very great mercy on you also. What do you want from me? Gobbo says, now in your book, in your text, if you'll see, some of the editions it might not be there, but it is there. After every particular speech where there is a dash over there, that dash means that that particular person and that speech has been interrupted. So here we see, Gobbo says, here's my son, sir, a poor boy. And straight away he is interrupted. ये मेरा बेटा है, एक गरीब लड़का है. Launcelot says, not a poor boy, sir, but the rich Jews man. That would, sir, as my father shall specify. मैं एक गरीब लड़का नहीं सर, एक अमीर आदमी का सर्वेंट हूँ. और वो क्या है, वो वाली बातें आपको मेरा फादर जो है, he will explain. Gobbo again tries to explain and says, he hath a great infection, sir, as one would say to serve. He uses the word affection in a wrong way and says infection. What he means is affection. इसको बड़ा लगाव है किसी के service में आने का. And as he is about to tell what, again Launcelot interrupts and say, indeed, the short and long is, I serve the Jew and have a desire as my father shall specify. He again interrupts and says a wrong sentence. The short and long is, यानी छोटी बात लंबे में अगर बताई जाए, rather he should have said, indeed the long and the short is, बड़ी बात छोटे में अगर समझाई जाए तो ऐसी है. But he says अगर छोटी बात लंबी करके समझाई जाए तो ये है कि I am serving Jew, Shylock, और मेरी इच्छा है, और मेरी क्या इच्छा है वो मेरे father बताएंगे. He will specify means he will describe or explain it to you. Again Gobbo explains and says, his master and he, saving your worship's reverence, are scarce cater cousins. Cater cousins means those who are always fighting. So he says कि ये और इसका master जो है, आपको मतलब कोई offend ना हो, but मैं ये बताना चाहूँगा कि इसका और इसके master के बीच में बनती नहीं है, and they are always fighting for various reasons. They are not at very good terms. Launcelot says, to be brief, Again, he is interrupting his father, and he says, "To be brief, the very truth is that the Jew, having done me wrong, doth cause me, as my father being, I hope, an old man, shall fructify unto you." Again, he is elongating the thing and saying, in brief, मतलब छोटी सी बात अगर मैं बताऊँ जरा सी बात में, द वेरी ट्रूथ इज कि मेरे को जो है शाइलॉक ने, द ज्यू जो है, उसने मेरे संग बहुत बुरा करा हुआ है, एंड हैज कॉज्ड मी वेरियस थिंग्स, जो कि माय फादर बीइंग एन ओल्ड एंड एन ऑनेस्ट मैन विल टेल यू, आपको समझाएंगे उसने मेरे संग क्या बुरा बुरा करा है. अगेन ही इज नॉट लेटिंग हिज फादर स्पीक एंड ही इज इंटरप्टिंग एंड ही विल नॉट टेलिंग द फुल थिंग. Gobbo says, "I have here a dish of doves that I would bestow upon your worship. And my suit is," वो कह रहे हैं यहाँ मैं गिफ्ट लाया हूँ, ये डिश ऑफ डर्व्स है, which I have come and brought it for you. I want to give this gift to you, and along with this gift I want to make a suit. Suit means a request. And as he is about to say the request, again Launcelot interrupts and he says, "In the very brief, the suit is impertinent to myself." बहुत छोटे में अगर आपको बताऊं तो वो रिक्वेस्ट जो है मुझसे रिलेटेड है. "As your worship shall know by this honest old man, and though I say it, or though honest old man, yet poor man my father." जो कि आपको ये honest old man बना देगा, जो कि honest old man is nobody but he is my father, and so he will explain you what is this particular request related to me is. Bassanio says, "One speak for both. What would you?" अब जैसे we all are confused, similarly Bassanio is shown that he is also confused. What are these father son pair talking about? And so he says, okay, one of you talk for both of the things, for both of you are talking. One person should specifically speak and explain what do you want. Gobbo says, "That is the very defect of the matter, sir." Sorry, Bassanio says, "One of you say." So Launcelot says, "Serve you, sir." आपकी खिदमत करना चाहते हैं, मैं आपके अंदर में नौकरी करना चाहता हूँ. And Gobbo says, "That is the very defect of the matter, sir." Defect means यहाँ पर he wants to speak effect. So here he uses this word effect in a wrong way and uses defect. और यही तो पूरी बात का conclusion है, that we want him or Launcelot to be under your service. Bassanio says, "I know thee well. Thou hast obtained thy suit." वो कहता है मैं तुम्हें अच्छे से जानता हूँ और तुम्हारी इच्छा पूरी हो गई है, जो तुम चाहते हो, तुम्हारी डिजायर है. I am ready to fulfill it. Shylock, thy master, spoke with me this day and had preferred thee. If it is preferment to leave a rich Jew's service to become the follower of a poor a gentleman. वो कह रहे मेरे को तुम्हारे मास्टर शाइलॉक ने आज ही तुम्हारे बारे में बता दिया था, what you want to prefer, what you prefer. So that's totally up to you. I am ready to give you the service, but you can decide on that, whether you want to be a servant of a rich man or whether you want to be the servant of a poor gentleman. He calls himself a poor gentleman, and that is the truth. Basically, he is being very true and honest with him. So Launcelot says, "The old proverb is very well parted between my master Shylock and you, sir. You have the grace of God, sir, and he had enough." Now he says, Launcelot, कि एक पुरानी कहावत जो है वो मेरे पुराने मास्टर और आपके बीच में बिल्कुल अच्छे से divided है, and that is, my old master has enough and you have the grace of God. In a good life you always require the grace of God. So basically the old statement is, the grace of God is enough. परमेश्वर की या ईश्वर की blessings, आशीषें जो हैं वो आपके लिए बहुत हैं. And over here he is saying, शाइलॉक के पास बहुत है तो आपके पास ईश्वर की आशीषें हैं, ईश्वर का आशीर्वाद है, blessings हैं. So that is why the blessings of God is enough. And this saying has been parted between Shylock and Bassanio. While Shylock has enough, Bassanio has the God's blessings. This is quite impressive, and Bassanio is impressed by this particular statement and says, "Thou speakest it well. Go, father, with thy son. Take leave of thy old master and inquire my lodging out." वो कह रहे, go father to old Gobbo, अपने सन को लेके जाओ एंड इसके ओल्ड मास्टर के यहाँ से गुड बाय या फेयरवेल करके आओ, टेक ऑल योर थिंग्स फ्रॉम देयर, एंड देन यू कैन आस्क फॉर माई हाउस एंड कम टू माई प्लेस एंड आई विल कीप हिम अंडर माई सर्विस. Then Bassanio tells to one of his followers, "Give him a livery more guarded than his fellows. See it done." जल्दी से जाओ और इसको एक नई यूनिफॉर्म दो और देखना वो ज़्यादा अच्छी डेकोरेटेड हो. Now in those times a better decorated livery uniform was given to the highest rank of the servants or the people who served, and among them the highest was a fool of the master. So fool was considered to be the very intelligent fellow, making pun and giving comics reliefs and adding to the humor and you can say lightening the mood of the master. So that was considered to be an assistant who was very well educated or very learned person. So his livery was also considered to be the more braided and more decorated ones. So this particular thing, more guarded than his fellows, means Bassanio ने instantly ही Launcelot को अपना fool बनाया है या clown बनाया है अपने servants में. Launcelot says, "Father, in I cannot get a service. No, no. I have never a tongue in my head." वो कह रहा है, "Father, come, let's go quickly." Now he is talking to his father, telling him that मेरे को कभी भी मेरे अंदर, मैं तो ज़्यादा बोल ही नहीं पाता हूँ, whereas he is speaking a lot, but he says मैं कभी बोल ही नहीं पाता हूँ, मेरे पास तो जुबान ही नहीं है, और अगर if you had not been there, I would have not got this job. Looking at his palm, now he looks at his hand as if he's reading his lines, palmistry. And so he says, "If any man in Italy have a fairer table which doth offer to swear upon a book, I shall have good fortune." He says, my hand has the best fortune than any other man in this entire Italy. The lady luck has favored me with all the blessings. Go to, here's a simple line of life. I have a very long good life line, and there a small trifle of wives. Alas, 15 wives is nothing. I might have 15 wives, and that is nothing. And 11 widows and 9 maids is a simple coming in for one man. I will be having 11 widows. That means by the time I die, I'll still have 11 of my wives alive, taking care of me. And along with that, I'll have 9 maids. And why is he calling it simple coming? Because every wife might bring some dowry, and that has been considered as an easy income. And then to escape drowning thrice, and to be in peril of my life with the edge of a feather bed. बिल्कुल बाल बराबरी से मैं खतरों से निकल जाऊंगा, from the threat of my life to my life thrice. 3 बार मैं मरते मरते बच जाऊंगा. Here are simple escapes. Well, if fortune be a woman, she's a good wench for this gear. Now here he is saying कि अगर fortune जो है वो एक a lady है, then I would say she has been a very generous lady towards me. She has been very kind and very generous towards me. Father, come, I'll take my leave of the Jew in the twinkling of an eye. मैं जल्दी से एकदम से अपने पुराने मास्टर से विदाई लेकर चलते हैं और चल के वापस बसानियो की सर्विस में आ जाऊंगा. At this, Launcelot and Old Gobbo, they move from that part, from the scene, and there on the stage we are just left with Bassanio and his servants, especially Leonardo. So Bassanio is now talking to Leonardo, and he says, "I pray thee, good Leonardo, think on this, these things being bought and orderly bestowed." They must be talking about some preparations. So वो उससे कह रहा है, देखो ये चीज़ों को Leonardo देखना ध्यान से कि इनको खरीद लिया जाए, and they should be orderly bestowed means orderly put up so that they can be distributed properly. Probably he is talking about the gifts that he would be taking for Portia. Return in haste, for I do feast tonight my best esteemed acquaintances. Hie thee go. He's saying कि जल्दी जल्दी ये काम करना, because tonight in the evening I'll be having a feast, and tonight only I'll have a voyage. I'll have my tonight only I'll have feast with my friends. The best esteemed acquaintance means my best friends, those whom I am very well acquainted. They are all invited over here. So make haste, go and make all the preparations before the feast. Leonardo says, my best endeavors shall be done herein. मैं पूरी की पूरी कोशिश करूंगा सर कि जल्दी से जल्दी आपके सारे काम अपने बेस्ट एफर्ट से पूरा कर लूं. And so at that time when Leonardo is moving out of the stage, from the other side we can say Gratiano coming in. So they both are crossing each other at particular point on the stage, whereas Bassanio is on the other end of the stage. So here, for a very brief while, where Leonardo and Gratiano talk to each other, Gratiano ko must be the previous servant has informed. So he has come. He's saying, where is your master? And Leonardo says, yonder sir. वहाँ पर है सर, वो वहीं पे चल रहे हैं. And Gratiano then talks to greets Bassanio. Bassanio greets him, and then they have a conversation. So Gratiano says, I have a suit to you. मेरे को आपसे कुछ request करनी है. And Gratiano की request सुनते ही Bassanio बोलता है, your suit has been obtained. You have obtained it. मतलब जो तुम्हारी इच्छा है वो पूरी है. Gratiano says, you must not deny me. I must go with you to Belmont. अब आप मुझे मना नहीं करोगे, मुझे आपके साथ Belmont जाना है. Bassanio says, why then you must. But hear thee, Gratiano, thou art too wild, too rude and bold of voice, paths that become thee happily enough, and in such eyes as ours appears not faults. वो कह रहे बट एक बात का ध्यान रखना, तुम तो हमारे साथ जाओगे, बट यू आर टू आउटस्पोकन, टू वेरी कैजुअल एंड केयरलेस काइंड ऑफ अ पर्सन हु डजंट बॉदर अबाउट व्हाट यू से, व्हाट यू रिएक्ट, हाउ यू पुट अप योर सेल्फ, एंड दैट इज समथिंग विच इज वेरी हैप्पीली एक्सेप्टेड बाय ऑल ऑफ अस हु नो you personally, who really appreciate you for all this particular happy-go-lucky kind of attitude that you have, the free spirit that you have. But where thou art not known, why there they show something too liberal. Pray thee, take pain to allay with some cold drops of modesty thy skipping spirit, lest through thy wild behavior I be misconstrued in the place I go to and lose my hopes. इसलिए ध्यान देना कि तुम अपनी ये स्पिरिट्स जो वहाँ पे ना दिखाओ जहाँ पे लोग तुम्हें नहीं जानते, बिकॉज देयर यू विल बी कंसिडर्ड टू बी वेरी वाइल्ड, रूड एंड inappropriate person, misbehaving kind of a lad, and because of your particular wild or uncontrolled behavior I will be given a wrong impression. People might think that I am also of the same kind. So for that reason I request you, take some drops of modesty, means take some particular measures to be to appear a little more modest in front of everyone over there. Gratiano says, Signia Bassanio, hear me, if I do not put on a sober habit. वो कह रहा सिग्निया बसानियो, मेरे पे ट्रस्ट मत करना अगर मैंने ये सारी बातें वहाँ पर नहीं करी, अगर मैं if I don't act soberly over there. Then he says, talk with respect, respectfully I'll talk to everyone, and swear but now and then wear prayer books in my pocket, look demurely, I will have a very serious look on my face, I'll always have a prayer book in my pocket, and every now and then I'll be swearing by the word of God, by the name of God. Nay more, while grace is saying, hood mine eyes, thus with my hat and sigh and say amen. When the prayer is said for the food, for anything, I will be closing my eyes, removing my hat and saying very nicely, seriously, I will say amen, and use all the observance of civility. For being a civil man, whatever the etiquettes are required, I'll portray all of them, like one well studied in a sad ostentation to please his grandam, like a person who has all the etiquettes to who follow all the etiquettes of seriousness and gravity, just to impress even a old lady also, even the grandmothers also. Never trust me more. If I don't do all these things what I have said just now, then you should never trust me ever more for any other thing. So Bassanio says, well, we shall see you bearing. वो कह रहा है कि ठीक है, वो देखा जाएगा how you behave yourself over there, how you put up your conduct, how you conduct yourself. Gratiano says, no, but I bar tonight. You shall not gauge me by what we do tonight. But he says, I just have a request. Please do not judge me for all these things tonight, because tonight I want to be free-spirited and I want to enjoy myself. You can judge me on these things from day after or from the next day when we are about to go to Belmont. Bassanio says, no, that were pity. I would entreat you rather to put on your boldest suit of mirth, for we have friends that for that purpose merriment. So he is saying, no, I am not asking you to do any particular such things right now today, because today I myself would rather request you to be at your best behavior of being jovial, funny and having merrymaking, because we all friends have this feast and we are gathering over here with the friends only for that purpose, so that we can have merrymaking, or merriment means enjoying ourselves. Fare you well, I have some business. So he says you can be at your best behavior to enjoy tonight, and right now I have to go, I have some urgent business, so goodbye, fare you well. And Gratiano says, and I must to Lorenzo and the rest, but we will visit you at supper time. He says, okay, I will also go to Lorenzo and the other friends, and then probably I'll meet you in the evening at the supper time. And so both of them, they part their ways. Bassanio goes for his particular work and Gratiano goes to Lorenzo's house. And with this, we get an exit of all the characters from the stage, and we come to the end of Act 2, Scene 2. With this, we come to the end of this video.